I've always said, Brandon, that the games will mean a great deal to me. And I covered 7 or 8 World Series, mostly with the Yankees, a couple of years with the Boston Red Sox. Being in Connecticut, you're between New York and Boston. And when you're in the media in Connecticut, you better pay as much attention to one as the other. It's really unique in that way. So I covered a couple of ones with the Red Sox as well. But I also covered Stanley Cup Finals. I covered NBA Finals, national championships in basketball with both UConn men's and women. A lot of different things. And as much as that means to me, what means just as much are the relationships that you make along the way, because it's kind of empty without having those relationships. So they mean a great deal to me, and they're from a lot of it, not just the people I covered, but a lot of people that I came across, but certainly from the guys you covered, from the guys that are the Whalers that I'm on Facebook, say, to this day, to guys like yourself who came through and played at Quinnipiac. It all means a great deal to me. And sports has been such a huge part of my life, even though I've transitioned now. News, sports has always been a big part of it. And within that, hockey was a big part of it. We only had one major league team in Connecticut, and that was the Hartford Whalers. Unfortunately, after the '97 season, they were gone and went to Carolina. But I still carry on the relationships with some of the staff or players that I came across way back then.
Yeah. Is there anything you can touch on, maybe at the Quinnipiac days of all those different memories and experiences?
Well, it's the building of a program, and I had experienced that with both basketball programs at the University of Connecticut, with men's and women's basketball. In 1989, neither of them had ever won a national championship yet. Now the men have won 4, and the women have won 11. So I saw, and there were the constants were the men's basketball coach Jim Calhoun, the women's basketball coach Gino Auriemma. So I've seen Rand Pecknold at Quinnipiac, maybe not quite to that level, but build a program that was playing in glorified high school rinks that now has what is still probably one of the nicest rinks in all of college hockey. For people who have never been there, a dual facility. You walk into a common lobby, and there's a basketball arena that holds 3,000 something on one side, and the hockey arena on the other side that holds over 3,000 as well. And college hockey doesn't, in most places, doesn't draw like college basketball does. But if you have close to 4,000 people, that's pretty good. And from Quinnipiac, the support there was unbelievable. And I always point out, when we're doing games, you'll see the rink looks full. You'll see some empty seats because a lot of the people choose to stand along the top there. I've never understood why, but it's still a good vantage point when you have, say, less than 4,000 seats. Even the highest row is not very far from the ice, right? So anywhere in the rink is a good place to watch a game from. And to watch that, the building of that rink, the building of the program, to become a national team, to be in 2 national championship games, it's been a lot of fun to watch, as it was watching the UConn men's and women's basketball programs. And then again, within that, it's the relationships that you make along the way. And you guys as players are part of that. Always extremely accommodating. That's another thing that I think has helped the program be so good, getting not only guys who are excellent players, but are excellent citizens, very respectful of other people, very good students. Just when you have that type of student athlete that not only is talented at his or her sport, but they're good people as well, good students, that's a very well-rounded individual that is a lot of times going to succeed very well in whatever they choose to do in life moving forward.
Yeah. How about talking a little about your famous interviewing of Wayne Gretzky?
So again, I was very fortunate. I have a picture that's let me see if I can grab it really quick. It's okay. It's Wayne and myself. You can be on the Zoom call too. This is Posey. She's new to us. She is on my wife's Zoom calls all the time. She's all of 2.2 pounds. She's my watchdog. So if you can see here, this is me with a mustache interviewing Gretzky, and you see
Wow,
the
yeah, that's
ESPN mic flag. And this was in the visitors' locker room at the Hartford. It was called the Civic Center at the time, now the XL Center. I don't even know how there's this picture. I don't know who took it. In those days, there were no cell phones. There was nobody there to take the pictures. So that was after a game. But when he came back years later, I was able to get him one-on-one. And that doesn't happen. He doesn't know me from Adam. And that's why I say it's such a great game from that standpoint. And I think he learned stuff like that from Gordy, that you are an ambassador for the game. So I had a couple with Wayne like that. I later learned in a locker room setting where there's several people interviewing him, Wayne signaled to his other teammates if someone asked a dumb question, was to do something like this to grab his ear. So I wish I knew that when he was playing, because you'd know what he thought of your question. But somebody that there was a guy from New Haven I became friends with, who was one of the equipment guys with the American League team in New Haven. And when Robbie Fatorik, who later became the head coach of the Kings, he took my friend with him as the equipment guy in LA. So he knew a lot of those secrets too about Wayne, with grabbing his ear when he didn't like a question, and little things like that. I don't know what she's getting herself into. So I'm sorry about that, but just a remarkable athlete. And you'd look at him go, he's like 175 pounds, and like, how could he be that great? But had that great vision on the ice, right? And go to an area before the puck got there, and somehow we would end up there. Just remarkable to watch. Most of my, I've covered a lot of different sports, but the hockey, I think, memories are the greatest. In 1987, the NHL, instead of having their normal All-Star game format, played 2 games against the Russians at Le Colisée in Quebec. And I was a producer at ESPN at the time. And I got that assignment. And it was, first off, it was 65 below wind chill in Quebec. Now, it gets cold in Connecticut, but not 65 below. And it's hard to describe to people how cold that is. You worked hard all week, but you went out and played hard too. And then you had the games, and the NHL had, I wish I could remember. I know Gretzky and Lemieux were on that team. Kevin Dineen, who played in Hartford and had a couple of 40+ goal seasons, who I know pretty well, he played at Rendezvous. But so the greatest guys who played in the 80s were part of that game, and then against the great Russian teams. So the level of play was just phenomenal. And to be around that and to see that was fun. Hartford did host the All-Star game in '86, and I was working for ESPN. So I had to get Gretzky from the locker room and move him for an interview that we did live during Sports Center during warmups. And this is something you'll never see too. So part of the rink where the door opened, it was open while warmups were going on. And we had Gretzky, but we had, I think it was Phil Esposito and someone. Anyway, warmups are going on. We're doing the interview, and I'm holding the bar that when you close the gate, locks it in, right? And the puck leaves the rink, hits me in the shin. I'm off to the side. We're live. And I'm biting my lip. And I'm thinking, Mario Gosselin of the Nordique was a goalie. It missed him, and I stopped it. And I had to go to get some repairs after that, get some ice from my ankle. But I remember standing there holding this thing and going and getting hit in the shin with, no protection on, obviously. Can't make a sound. And so the game was in Hartford. Ron Francis was still with the Whalers, but was injured. So he got introduced, but he didn't play. And, again, Francis was a guy that when he left Hartford, he really took off and was a great player with the Penguins, obviously, after that. He's in the Hall of Fame. Awful trade. And to me, when he was traded, it was the beginning of the end of the Hartford Whalers, unfortunately. But to have a team that close and to be able to cover them, and as my normal routine, was was just great. It was a lot of fun. And again, part of it is those relationships that you make along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.